Hi everyone, and welcome back to Planting for Wildlife. As you can see, I'm not in my own garden today. I'm really excited to be out and about visiting the Barbican in London, most famous for its brutalist architecture, but also for its stunning garden. I'm visiting Barbican for the first time today together with my wife, so I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time going into detail on all of the planting, but I am really looking forward to having a good look around and sharing some of my favourite features of the garden with you.
First off, a bit of history. The Barbican was built between 1965 and 1976, and when built had some water features with marginal planting and shrubbery typical of most urban planting at the time. It also featured a huge glasshouse, which is still the second largest in London. In 2015 though, this all changed with the old shrubbery essentially ripped out and replaced with a complex meadow-type planting designed by Nigel Dunnett, who's worked on a huge range of public projects such as the Tower of London Superbloom and the 2012 London Olympic Park. He's one of my planting heroes and definitely the person I take the most inspiration from in my own garden. From a planting design perspective, the steppe grasslands of Eastern Europe and Central Asia were used as a reference habitat. And for drought-friendly planting inspiration, this is probably one of the best places to visit as there is no irrigation and the soil depth is only 35 centimetres. Looking at some of my favourite features, the first would be the beautiful selection of multi-stem trees which act as anchors for the other plants to coalesce around. In particular, I love these Himalayan birch trees called Betula jacquemontii, and the combination with white anemones, a variety called Honorene Jobert, which keep the monochrome palette and provide food for pollinators late into the summer. Birch trees are also shallow rooted, so cope really well with shallow substrate. For shrubs, I love the Sambucus nigra, a dark variety called Gerda. These plants always give beautiful colour contrast with their dark purple, almost black, deep-cut foliage. Also popular with pollinators earlier in the season and should have berries later on for the birds. I have done a separate plant profile video on these previously, so check that out if you want a deeper dive into these beautiful shrubs. For perennials, Euphorbia characias are abundant throughout the planting, giving structure, texture and colour contrast with their smooth blue-green foliage, and earlier in the season would have had lime green flowers which are great for pollinators. They're also a great plant for dry conditions. From a design perspective, what really stood out is how Dunnett creates such an immersive space, with pathways meandering right through the planting that give that lovely feeling of being surrounded by plants in an otherwise concrete jungle. There's also some informal pathways through the beds that would easily be recreated in your own garden, and seating areas dotted throughout the planting, which are so important in public areas but also a key consideration in private gardens. I hope that's given a little taste of the Barbican. We had such a great day out there, and after walking around all the beautiful planting, sat down for a really nice and well-deserved iced coffee in the cafe there that also had some really nice cakes too. There's also so many different art events going on at the Barbican, so if you live anywhere near London or if you're just visiting, it's well worth checking out. I'm definitely going to get back there myself, probably in the spring, to see all the alliums. Until next time, thanks for watching and enjoy the wildlife in your garden.